Hello, my name is Raymond Garchevsky, and I'm Living Christ. I should like to speak to you today about the second coming of Christ consciousness. You see, most of you do not understand what life is all about, why you're here on this earth, who you are, and your purpose for being here. The fact is that you are living in an illusory world that you believe through your conditioning to be true. That which is with a beginning, such as birth, and end, which is death, is an illusion. That is a fantasy. That is what most of you believe life to be. And where did you get that belief? You were taught that belief at a very early age from your parents, who were conditioned to believe in certain ideas by the satanic institutions which ruled their consciousness, much like the satanic institutions today which rule your consciousness. I'm speaking of government, religions, education, schools. You see, there's a vested interest in keeping you under mind control, keeping you under the grip of satanic leadership while they exploit you. Now, what does that exploitation mean? There's a division. You see, most of you, all of you, in fact, are living men, women, and children in different stages of life. But you are truly the living, the creators of that which you consider the human world. And you find that to be full of rules, regulations, limitations, control, punishment, wars, crime, limitations all, aren't they? Satanic limitations, and you are subject to them. You are obedient to those men and women who make up these rules. Currently in America, there's a government shutdown. That's God's way of leveling the forces of Satan. There are a lot of non-essential jobs that are at stake during the shutdown. 800,000 of them, as a matter of fact. These are the excessive control measures that you pay your taxes to support. And they control you under the satanic laws that they require you to follow. And if not, they put you in jail, prison. They declare wars upon you. They send your children to wars to fight in other parts of the world. where these countries do not present a threat to these United States. They present a threat to the commercial corporations that operate worldwide, but not to you. And if you were to follow it closely, you would find that these commercial operations are really the sources of war for assets that they have. They're designed to steal oil, gold, minerals. And for that, they pay for with human lives, the lives of your children, of your sons, who are sent out to fight, to kill, and be killed. That's what this country is all about presently. It's overstaffed, vastly, vastly beyond the scope of what good does it do for the people who are the true government. You see, government does not exist. It's an illusion. It's a figment of your imagination that you consent into being, into appearing, and then you support that appearance, that graven image, that dead image, as a god, your god, and you serve it. That's the reality of government. It's a fiction. It's a fiction of your mind, you being the living, breathing flesh and blood man and woman who created government through your thought. Now, do you understand now that government does not exist but for your collective artificial thought? It is not real. It is not natural. It can only exist in your intellectual mind. And that is satanic. Most of you rebel against the word Satan without understanding what it means. In fact, in truth, Satan or satanic means is the dualistic, the opposing intellect of mankind. It's all illusory. This world that we live in, that we call civilized, is an illusion because it has birth and it has death. In fact, each of you are eternal beings, spiritual beings, operating in a material body. The body is temporary because it is, in fact, the satanic mechanism of duality and opposition. The word Satan itself means opposition. You don't know that. Most of you don't know that at all. You believe in some cockamamie theory that's been programmed into you by people that you have trusted when you were children, and it stays with you for life. And you don't understand that you have been mind controlled into a dualistic, opposing individual. So you argue, you debate, you fight. You take advantage of others, believing that they are to serve you, the ego. You don't understand the wholeness of life, the being of spirit, of oneness, of truth, of love, of God. You are truly the God of your own life. You create your quality of life. And you must stand by, be responsible for your actions. But most of you are not. Most of you have been raised to believe that the world owes you a living, that you are to be served, by the world. That's your separation from the world. Rather than be honest, truthful, and responsible, and take actions that will provide for you the kind of life that you envision, you wait to stand on the breadline, to take food, uh, rations in times of need. You see, you want to be a child, protected by some savior, by some God. And so you relinquish your personal responsibility for who you truly are. And you remain children most of your life, looking for someone to provide for you, to give you food stamps. You see, that's the fiction that many of our children experience today. Today, the snowflakes. The world owes them a living. And they get angry. They get violent if they don't get it. Well, you see, what's happening now in this country is that snowflake attitude is about to be tested. President Trump, if he has a working spirit operating within his mind, he will see this shutdown through and get rid of the 800,000 non-essential jobs and pare down government of the jobs that are not needed, that only provide a dependence upon authority to where they will sell their souls and turn on their fellow man and create laws and enforce those laws for unnecessary actions and acts. You see, we have long forsaken our God-given rights and followed God's law, which is very simple. Do no harm, tell no lies. What does that do? If you don't harm anyone, and if you don't tell a lie, what are you? You're at peace. You're at one. There is no duality. You're in a state of non-duality. That is the subconscious mind that you have forsaken in order to accept the fruits of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Duality. Our society is a dualistic and opposing one. Worldwide. It doesn't apply just here in America, but every government on the face of the earth operates dualistically because it requires power. Power is dualistic. The transition from the conscious mind, the satanic mind of dualism, to the state of the subconscious non-dualistic mind is the purpose for which you are here on earth, to learn, to understand, and then to act from. That is heaven on earth. Because when you're in your non-dualistic mind, there's no one to oppose. There's no one to fight with. There's no one to argue with. You see, you are at one with all of creation. And that is love. That is the God mind. And that is the purpose for your being here. Because you are eternal. But you adopt this temporary illusory, conscious intellect that separates and divides and causes conflict and confusion. And you must deal with that before you are able to transcend the intellectual mind and enter into the subconscious mind of God. This shutdown is of that nature. It is destroying the false, illusory, fragmented, divisive government that is hell on earth. Pay attention. And all those who support that kind of life are about to get a rude awakening. They're about to understand what life is all about. And many of them will not survive. Let's see. And that is what the temporary life that is called civilized really is. You've heard the adage, the wages of sin is death. Well, sin is nothing more than a contradiction in essence. And that creates a dualistic world. And as you all know, that dualistic world comprises of birth and death. It's an illusion. The world that you believe to be real is not really true. The truth is you are eternal. And you are here only for time to exercise your eternal truths. Put them to the test. And the satanic world does that. You see, there's no good and bad, there's just what is. That is the definition of truth, you see. The good or bad are judgments based on the substrata, conscious intellect that judges and makes up a kind of life. You see, it creates a limitation that you believe to be whole, but it's not whole. You know that it's not whole because truth is what is. And once you begin to judge that truth, you create the illusion of truth. Words, ideas, symbols, superstitions, beliefs. Belief is a lazy man's truth. You see, it's an illusion, a graven image, a reflection of truth that is thought and relied upon to be what is. But as you can see, with all the billions of people on earth, if each had their own judgment of truth, there will be billions of truth. That's not possible. There's only truth. There's only the oneness of truth. And that becomes the understanding that we are one people. And what separates us are artificial words and ideas that we call laws that make up countries and cultures. And then we're at odds with others who have a different culturization than we. And that brings us the hell that we presently live in. And we call that civilized. I'm on the internet. I've been writing and presenting videos expounding on the truth, on the what is of this world. And most of you who are cultured and conditioned by satanic forces are uncomfortable with that kind of holistic truth. And it offends you. You must ask yourself, why are you offended? I do no harm. I tell no lies, yet you are offended. So where does the responsibility lie for your reactions? I'm a living Christ. I am the second coming of Christ consciousness. But you see, so are you. But you have been controlled by satanic forces to doubt yourselves. And so that is why you rebel. And you are outraged by the truth that I speak. Live with it until you understand that it is your faulty intellect that has been conditioned according to culturizations of nations and countries by your leaders, and you will understand why life is so unconscionable, why you cannot find peace in your lives. You see, you must look inward for the answer. You will never find it outwardly. There you will find the travail of the intellect, the satanic intellect, whose purpose is to put you to the test, to present problems that only you can resolve. And when you resolve them, you become transcendent of the dualistic intellect, and you enter into the non-dualistic subconscious mind, the mind of God, the mind of creation, the mind of love. Ponder that, and you'll see that what I am saying to you is truth. Thank you.